you guys ready for your first act of the night? Ladies and gentlemen, make some fucking noise! Paula Ferrari!
Hi, my name is Paula Ferrari. I'm a speech pathologist and a teacher, and I'm also an activist against female genital mutilation. And on that note, I also do stand-up comedy. I'm 47, I have 3 kids, I have a private practice in West Melbourne. I'm also a teacher. I did a teaching degree, just for fun in the middle and tried that out. When I was at high school, I used to babysit for a lady who was a speech pathologist, and she seemed to have like the best of both worlds. Like she, had a little bit of a private practice at home where she saw some clients, and she seemed to have flexibility, to have a family. And it just seemed to be like I admired her. I felt like she was a good person to look up to. I work with children and I work with adults. Because I've been working a long time, I can just pretty much do everything that I want to do. So, and what I really enjoy is working with children with speech sound errors, so articulation problems, stuttering. Stuttering in Australia is really great when it comes to stuttering treatment, and that's one of the areas I really enjoy. Voice problems as well with children or adults. Literacy problems, and that really brings my teaching in as well to my speech pathology. So I really understand how children learn to read and the links between the sounds that they're hearing and the way they produce their sounds and the letters that they're writing on the page. So that's a real complementary aspect of my 2 professions. No, speech pathologists are known for being, very highly professional and, very upright members of society, which we should be. Okay, so I don't want my comedy to sort of interfere with, people's view of the professional side of speech pathologists. I got into stand-up comedy pretty much because I used to go to stand-up comedy and I enjoyed it. But some of my friends would say to me, "Oh, you should get up, you should get up." And there was a group of women who were part of an organisation called the Comedy Women's Association. And they were saying to me, "Oh, next month we've booked you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I better write some jokes." I really need now the space, 5 minutes, to tell people my opinion about what's happening. And so I love it when people are interested and want to listen to me perform and want to hear my jokes. But I did think at the time that when I was looking at some of the comedians that were getting up, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I reckon I can be just a little bit less shit than that. I might actually give it a go."
You can tell the other people at the gym who are exercising with depression and stress incontinence just by the size of their towel.
It was a really good performance because I worked really hard. I made sure, right, this is maybe the one and only time I ever perform, I'm going to make sure it's good. As the time has gone by and I've done a lot more performing, I've become more confident and more able to interact with the audience and really talk to them and get their feedback. I guess different people do comedy for different reasons. My reason for getting into it was just to get my friends off my back, which worked. But then I was like, oh no, this is actually fun. This is like an art form. This is a way to be creative. My material is sometimes a little bit uncomfortable for people because I talk about the clitoris. You just have to say dick and people will laugh. I don't know what it is, but if you say clit and people are just like, ooh, yeah, what was that again? Let's just change the subject, talk about dicks. And because that's one of the areas of interest that got me into doing comedy was my activism. So when I decided to do stand-up, I thought, right, I'm going to talk about FGM. I don't know how, but I'm going to get that out there. My stand-up comedy really has been something that's more of a hobby and leisure time, although I do draw on some of my experiences as a speech pathologist and also as a teacher for some of my material.
I was teaching because I'm a speech pathologist and a teacher, which means I spend half my time trying to get kids to talk and the other half trying to get them to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so I guess in that way they entwine a little bit because you actually use comedy to try and process things that happen in life, and I found that really helpful. Like when things are going really badly and you're just like, what, this is like the worst day ever in my life, it's like great comedy material. So yeah, that's kind of helped in a therapeutic way to deal with life's little crises. But apart from that, my stand-up is like I'm a speech pathologist separately from being a comedian.
So I'm a parent. They don't tell you how hard it is. So I'm a parent of twins. And twins, they just don't tell you how much crying there is. Just constant crying. I mean, I haven't stopped for 10 years.
People ask, what's the comedy scene like for female comedians? And it's just a lot of fun. It's actually a lot of fun. You get to hang out with a lot of really funny people. I enjoy, listening to other people's comedy and learning from them. And, especially when people bomb, that's just great. It just makes you feel like, yeah, I can do this. Generally, there are more males doing comedy. I don't know why that is. I think some guys just feel like, anybody can just get up and be funny, and that's great. Like, I think it's great that guys have got that confidence, but I don't think that's anything to do with male or female. But women do get judged more because there are less of them. And that would be, to me, the only reason why I keep going. It's because, at least there's more women in the mix, and so people can sort of talk about not just male comedians or female comedians, but just comedians. And some of them are funny and some of them aren't funny. So I think there's possibly a little bit of, still acceptance that maybe there are more women coming into the scene, that, you can even have a lineup that's full of women. My experience has always been positive, because I started with a group of women who were really like promoting women into the comedy scene. And so I guess I felt like, yeah, that's a really supportive beginning. And ever since then, I've never really experienced any, what I would say is discrimination because I'm a woman. As long as you're making people laugh, I think that's what people are more worried about in terms of comedy. I don't know that, like, there may be some people who don't think women, should be doing comedy, but then I guess my answer to that is, does that mean every single male comedian is funny? I've always been adventurous and I've always pushed boundaries, and I feel as if this is a new boundary. I don't know really many people who are doing what I'm doing and combining stand-up with a profession. So maybe, like, pressing the boundaries and pushing the boundaries isn't such a bad thing. We'll find out.